Hello yogis, and welcome back to Yoga by Paige. I'm here today with another yin practice. This practice will be really good if you tend to be pretty tight around the hips, which with all of our sitting and activities we do these days, who isn't tight around the hips? So to begin today, you'll want a strap. And what I've actually done with my strap here is I've actually kind of made a large enough loop that I'll be able to wrap around my thighs, so you can have that nice and ready for you. And then just set that aside. We'll use it towards the end of our practice. I also have a bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, you can roll up a couple of blankets. You can also use a thicker pillow. And then I have two blocks handy just in case. If you want some support as we kind of start holding these, you'll know pretty quickly if you need some tools to keep you supported. And if there's anything else you would like, a pillow or a blanket for your head or to rest over your body, go ahead and have one of those handy as well. And what we'll get started with is just one block. So take one block here and you'll begin by lying down on your back. So we'll come into just a reclined resting posture for a second, allowing the knees to prop into one another, letting the back of the head rest down into the mat. Just feeling some opening and length through the spine. Arms can be wherever you choose them to be. I personally like resting the hands on the belly or one hand on the belly and heart. You can even have the arms open. Just taking a moment here to connect with how you feel. To see if you are busy in the mind. And just start to narrow your focus into your breath. Not necessarily changing the quality of our breath. Simply observing. So from here, we'll just toe heel our feet so that they are hip width distance apart. We'll take the block, and I'll encourage you to use the medium setting. However, if you want the lower setting or the higher setting, you're welcome to. We'll take this medium block, we'll take this block on the setting that you choose and slide it right underneath your lower back or sacrum. This is where the lower back turns into your glutes. There's a flat bony prominence there that you can rest on. And you can just let the arms drape open in a fashion that feels comfortable for you. And you can start to feel the weight of your pelvis just rest down onto the block. This often will feel pretty nice for alleviating any pressure in the lower back. It also very gently helps us get into the front of our hip flexors here, kind of exposing the hip bones. You're welcome to keep the feet planted flat. This is quite possibly my favorite yoga pose ever. If you want something a little bit more that will get into those hip flexors, feel free to extend the legs so that the heels connect with the ground. That might be intense, so don't feel like you have to go there. Just choose something that feels good in your body today. And then once you find your pose, feel the eyes close. Feel the head rest back into the mat beneath you. Just sinking in for a few moments of stillness. Creating space in the body. Releasing any resistance that might be held in or around the pelvis. You might even just start to notice the heart rate slowing down. See where you might continue to drape the body over your block. Sometimes like to imagine if my body could absorb the block. How much softening would I do around the surface between skin and the prop? And then slowly begin to deepen that breath, bringing a little bit more awareness into the physical body. And you'll press lightly down through the entire sole of both feet here. And you'll press lightly down through the entire footprint of both feet here, so that you might be able to lift up off of your block ever so slightly and slide this block out from underneath you so you can gently lower down flat on the mat, allowing the knees to prop into each other for a little bit of constructive rest. You might feel slight invigoration through that lower back where the block was. A warming sensation. And then you can roll over to one side, pressing yourself up into a comfortable seat here so that we might be able to prepare for our next pose. Our next pose here will be a supported child's pose. So we'll bring the bolster in front of us here and take the knees really nice and wide as if you were preparing for any regular child's pose. So you can shift forward, bring the big toes to touch. Then I like to snuggle this bolster in between the groin here as tightly as I can so I really feel supported through the torso. You're welcome if you would like to insert a block underneath just to elevate this a little bit so that you don't feel like you're going down too far. You're also welcome to elevate the entire bolster or add another bolster or pillow as you need. So when you're ready here, you'll just crawl yourself out over your bolster and put one ear down into your bolster and surrender the weight here. Let the hips hang really heavy in a supported way. Noticing the length through the spine and the heaviness in the hips. Allow the shoulders to drape down your spine. Feeling this sense of support and opening. Surrendering here to the support system beneath you. If you have your head turned one way, you might like to balance that out and put the other ear down into the mat. And then imagine the heaviness here of the thigh bones. Feeling that distance between your glutes and the heels come closer and closer. Notice the point in which the body fatigues and you can drop in a little deeper. Now here, when you're ready, slowly start to slide the hands back underneath you so that you might be able to re-support yourself with as little movement as possible. Just sitting upright here for a moment. Feeling that length and the heaviness through the thigh bones and your hips. And now we'll bring the bolster behind us, snuggling this bolster now to the lower back. We'll also go ahead and sit down, bringing the soles of the feet together, allowing the knees to open up a little bit wide. And then if you know this is a pretty sensitive area for you, it can be pretty tight on a lot of us, you might want to use your blocks. And what you can do with your blocks here is just insert them somewhere along the edge of the thigh so that you feel like your legs can totally relax and you're not holding on to them for the duration of this pose. Once you are settled there, your bolster's snuggled up against your lower back, we'll slowly begin to lean all the way back. Again, if you want that pillow or blanket underneath your head, you're welcome. Otherwise, just drape back, maybe opening the arms out into a T or resting your hands on the belly and chest. Taking an inhale, and as you exhale, drop right in. Feeling the stimulation through the chest and the heaviness of the pelvis connecting with the ground. Allow the knees to rest out, imagining this blanket of gravity laying over the entire front side of your body. Finding this stillness, acting as a tonic of nourishment to the tissue. This revitalizing sensation as we create space and opportunity. Allow the body to become heavier and heavier. Now slowly begin to deepen that breath. You can slide the hands underneath you to help you support the body up off of your props. I like to bring the hands behind the legs first to close the legs with a little gentle support. And now bring the hands alongside your bolster. Tuck the chin into your chest and slowly curl up, or you can roll over to a side. We'll come up for just a moment of constructive rest, feeling the stimulation through the spine and how that translates to the opening you felt down through your legs and hips. And now you can maybe place one of your blocks underneath your bolster near the top. We'll keep the bolster where it is in place here. What I like to do is just place that under to elevate it slightly. And now we'll come into a really gentle twist. So you can stack the knees on top of one another, snuggling this right hip up in line with the bolster. And now we'll go ahead and twist all the way, squaring off the chest and slowly lowering down. You have two options here. One is to press the right ear into your bolster, resting here, or if you want something a little bit more intense, you'll turn the left ear down, looking away from your legs, and dropping your weight down into the elbows, letting the legs organize in a fashion where they can be heavy. As the body finds rest in this posture, you might notice that you need to make some micro adjustments and then drop right back in. Noticing these gentle tugging sensations, perhaps across the thighs, the lower back. Feeling this lengthening in the body. And slowly begin to deepen that breath. Begin to slide the hands underneath the shoulders. Then use your hands as they press into the mat to peel your chest up off of your bolster. And we will twist over the left shoulder here, coming into a paused moment here. Feeling that invigoration through the spine. It's lengthening through one side of the body. You might even notice that one hip sits a little bit lower. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and twist over to the left, snuggling the left hip now into the side of your bolster. Stacking your knees in a fashion that will feel comfortable for you. And we'll start to square the chest off over your bolster this time and walk the hands out to drape the chest on the bolster. Remembering here that you can turn a little bit deeper, twisting your right ear down to the mat. Maybe you begin there, and as you settle in, maybe you notice that you want to actually change the gaze, so you can turn the left ear down into the mat. Finding something that is supportive to your system and your body here. And then just dropping in right away. Making those micro adjustments so that you can settle in. Allow this deep, slow movement in the body to feel restful feel like it's helping you develop some opening and release. Begin to deepen the breath, sliding your hands back, and slowly beginning to re-support yourself with the arms, unwinding as you turn over the right shoulder to pause in that constructive rest, feeling the evenness through the hips and the spine, noticing the heaviness through the pelvis. And we'll come into one more pose before Shavasana. You can set your bolster aside here. Perhaps we'll grab the one block here for our lower back. But let's go ahead and grab our strap. So remember, we kind of opened it up and set it up so you have a loop where you can actually kind of put your strap on for size and then cinch up enough that you can feel the support in your legs so that the legs will stay together nice and comfortably there. We'll loop up a little bit more, yeah. And now we'll just go ahead and lie down, similar to how we first started our class today. Slide your block in so that it's on that medium setting underneath the sacrum. And if you want the lower setting, that's acceptable too, but the high setting you might feel a little bit off balance. And then once you're there and set up and you've got your strap around your thighs, you can come up. Maybe you realize you need to tighten up a little bit more. And now you can extend the legs up so that they are hugging in toward each other, and you can hold those legs up without much effort. So if they start to open up on their own, the strap will be there to kind of keep you together. Your strap can be anywhere here on the upper legs, something to just give you a little bit of support. So you're creating some length through that lower back, some stimulation through the sacrum and the top of the pelvis. And now you should also slowly start to feel some of the blood draining out of the legs, the lower legs here. Quite therapeutic and really great for those of us who spend a good amount of time on our feet throughout the day. It's really good after traveling, particularly if you feel any swelling in your ankles. Sometimes I even like to do this pose right before bed. I'll turn around and place my legs straight up the wall and just relax for a few minutes. And slowly here begin to bend the knees. Drawing the knees in towards the chest for just a moment here. And then slowly set the feet back down onto the mat. You can press your heels into the ground to lift your hips up off of the block. Set your block aside, or maybe you even want it underneath your head as we prepare for our final rest. You can remove the strap from your thighs here, setting the block away and then preparing for Shavasana. So if you want to use a bolster under your legs or find a blanket or pillow, whatever will feel good here for you. And then just rest back. letting your body drift into the space that you have created. Feeling support of the earth beneath you. And this sense of expansiveness, removing barriers and resistance. Let both your mind and body drift in space. Untethering from any thoughts or feelings. Slipping into being. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Bring awareness into the fingers and toes. Inhale to reach the arms overhead for that full body stretch. And when you're ready, you can roll over to a side, pausing for a moment as we prepare for movement in the rest of our day. When you're ready, you can press yourself up into a nice comfortable seat. Draw hands to heart center, eyes closed with a bow in the forehead. In gratitude for sharing your practice, the teacher and the light in me honors the teacher and the light in you. Namaste. Thank you for being here, yogi. I really hope you enjoyed this yin practice for relieving tension in your hips. Be sure to check back weekly for more videos and meditations, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Namaste.